What happens when you take a 45-year-old boat, a 27-year-old outboard motor, and a guy who's never captained before into the open ocean off the coast of Maine? Well, you get a lot of work and a few lessons learned. But for all that time and effort, you open a new frontier ripe for exploration, adventure, and discovery. So, what happens when you take a 45-year-old boat, a 27-year-old outboard motor, and a guy who's never captained before offshore? Well, let's find out. Good morning. It is Saturday, April 11th, and it is a breezy but at least partly sunny day here in the early spring season. I'm here at my parents' house and I'm checking out the family boat. This is a 1981 Starcraft Holiday 160 aluminum hull boat. It's been in my family for decades. My grandfather put this together, I don't know, sometime in the early 2000s probably. And when he couldn't use it anymore, he handed it off to my parents, who used it for a few years. And now the time has finally come for my parents to hand it down to me. My general motivation is I'd actually like to bring this offshore. It's obviously a little small for an offshore boat. It's just 16 feet, but it has a lot of things going for it. If we look here, it's actually got a deep V hull. Which, again, I don't know much about boats, but I feel like a deep V hull is relatively unusual for a 16-foot boat. And then if we look here, you can see it's an isolated transom. I don't actually know what the real term for this is called, but I'm calling it an isolated transom. So this is really the back of the boat. This is just the motor mount. And then this is a self-draining rear deck. Has a couple of drain holes here, so not bad features for a small boat. It's also got relatively high walls and these here, the splash chines. The reason why I want to take it offshore, I live about a half hour from the Maine coast, and the Maine is like the jewel of the Northeast when it comes to boating, or at least offshore boating, because actually the Maine coastline is longer than the coastline of California because it's so jagged and there's so many islands. So there's just near limitless opportunities for exploring, and obviously fishing's a big deal up here. I pulled it out last night and I've noticed a few issues that I'll need to address pretty soon. First, with the trailer, I don't know how well you can see, but some of these rollers definitely need to be replaced. In fact, some of them, like this one back here, are completely absent. There's a more serious issue with the boat, which unfortunately is back here at the transom. So if we do the shake test, I mean, it's pretty solid, and center of the transom solid. Port side is good, but on the starboard side here, I noticed this last night. It's getting a little soft back here. So I think that this is really going to define what kind of lifespan this boat has. Looking back at the motor now, this is a Tohatsu M40D2, 3-cylinder, 2-stroke, 40 horse outboard. Last night I did notice this, whatever this seal is here, is leaking gear oil back there. So I already have the service manual for this motor. There's a There's an oil seal back here somewhere that obviously needs to be replaced, so I'll have to do that. But before I do any of that at all, the first thing that I want to do is run a compression test on this motor, and that's one of the things I want to do today, because if I have a dead cylinder, then you know, dead cylinder, rotting transom, this boat's probably headed for the junkyard. I don't think that's the case, but it's worth checking before I go any further here. Oh, well, I accidentally just started it, so that's obviously good. And there's the trim. Up and down working. Okay, so I have to turn the key on the run the trim. So I will get the compression test kit and we'll give that a shot. I'm gonna pull all 3 plugs for the compression test. Here is the compression test kit. So what we're doing here is measuring how much compression each cylinder creates when the piston pushes up to top dead center. So I've got this hooked up. I'll hit the starter for 3 to 5 seconds and then we'll come back, take a reading on all 3 cylinders. I'm not really looking for nominal readings, I'm just trying to make sure that the 3 are even. If one is way below the other 2, then I know I have a dead cylinder and we have some decisions to make. Battery sounds a little dead, but I got about 130. That to me is a pretty healthy reading. 120. I got 120 on that one too, so compression test passed. That's what I need. Another nice thing about this outboard is that it's oil injected, so I don't have to worry about pre-mixing gas. That thing stinks! It's leaking, that's why it smelled. Now I got gas in my car. I wonder if that's happening because the air vent is closed. Oh yeah. Air came out immediately. Get a booster pack. I get fuel, so I'm gonna fill up that drum back there and see if this thing starts. Oops. I'm gonna connect the booster pack first, like so. Okay, prime the bulb. I'll fix my hose. I'm just gonna leave it running so there's a continuous flow of fresh water in there. Peeing out of the telltale, so water's getting through the motor. What more do you want? This is so cool. I'm so excited for this summer. Great little boat, great little motor. I'm a lucky guy. All right, it's the following weekend, and I've got a bunch of parts that just came in the mail. Not really sure where to start, so I'll probably just tinker with some easy stuff first and go from there. Got a fresh set of spark plugs, so I'm probably gonna start with these. The ones on here are probably brand new. Pretty sure this boat only got used once last year, but they're like $5 a piece. It's kind of one of those why not sort of things. Per the service manual, these are finger tight plus half a turn to seal up the crush washer. Place my wires. And there's the first piece of maintenance on this boat done. Another easy job I can do right off the bat is the thermostat, 3 10mm bolts. And I got a gasket for it too, because this gasket might be, what, 26, 27 years old at this point, if this has never been replaced. I'm glad I bought a gasket, because this one just disintegrated. Honestly, in every video I've watched, they've just popped right off.
Yeah, that's what it should do.
There you go. Wait, let me see it. You think this is original?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Grandpa didn't get anything half.
Oh, yeah.
And then this must be a fuel filter in here.
That's an oil filter. Fuel filter's over here.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, right here.
So I got a new one of those. I did not get a new one of these. This was like $30. This was almost 100. So I'm like, I'll just clean the screen on that one.
Say, yeah.
I think this just goes in. Seated, put a gasket on it. I guess I'll look up torque specs. Thermostat cap on the 40 horse, 44 to 53 inch-pounds. I'll just go for 50. Oh, that's really light. It's literally like, it's so light. But that's why I whipped out the torque wrench, because I 100% would have over-torqued those. So this motor, I think I mentioned it, but this motor has 3 anodes. One is right here. This is the trim tab, but looking at this, honestly, it looks fine, so I'm just gonna leave that there. The one that I am gonna replace is this guy right here. This is the stern plate anode. And then again, I think I already mentioned it, but there's one in the water jacket, but I'm not gonna pull the head. So really, I'm just gonna replace this guy right here. I wanna clean this bolt off. It's got a zinc powder all over it. Wow, I'm surprised this actually just popped off. Actually, it doesn't look as bad as I thought, but replacing it anyway. Not gonna bother with the torque wrench on this one. All right, anode replaced. All right, we're making good progress so far. What I think I'm gonna do next is I'm going to address this. This was just a kind of a temporary fix that my dad did for the Telltale, because this clogged up at one point. Nope, it went on. Good. Yeah, that's on. Yeah, all right, that's on. So connected right there to the block, and then down here, the port on the outside. I suppose it is fuel filter time. Nice. Old fuel filter, new fuel filter. Yeah, all right. New fuel filter installed. And I mean, that is crystal clear. Yeah, I am not gonna touch that. Okay, so we've got new spark plugs, new thermostat, new anode, new fuel filter, and I replaced the Telltale hose as well. So unfortunately, I don't have any more procrastinating that I can do. It's time to deal with the real elephant in the room here, which is the whatever oil seal down here is leaking out of the prop. Oh goodness, wow. Once this comes out, that should start draining more quickly. Yeah. I think I mentioned it already, but this boat, I think, only got used once last year. We went up to northern Vermont for the 4th of July weekend. Katie and I were up there as well. And I think we only took the boat out once, and if we were out there for an hour, I'd be surprised. So it makes sense that everything's clean, but I'm gonna be putting a lot more time on this boat this year than that. So it's good to make sure everything's in good shape. Couldn't find a smaller pair of needle nose pliers. Just popped right off. I've seen people absolutely struggle with these. So that seal right there is the one that I have a replacement for. But I don't know. It looks dry. The oil's coming from in here. You know? Huh. Okay. That's the dog bevel gear, and ooh, look at that. That milky stuff means it's mixing with water, and it was right here. Although I'm looking at this and I'm not seeing anything wrong with this O-ring. Anyway, I should probably start doing a little more research at this point, because this thing's gonna fall apart and I'm not gonna know how to put it back together. I mean, there is oil coming out of it right now, but I'm not sure if that spilled in. Oh, it's just because I pushed that out and popped it back in. I'm gonna replace this seal just because I have a new one, why not? But I think I should probably put this O-ring on order as well.
I just need you to hold the motor for the turn.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, it's looking good.
There it is. Ooh. All right, there's the drive shaft and the shifter. And the impeller is in that unit right there. Where do I even put this? So I think all I gotta do is remove these 4 bolts. This housing slides off. And then, where is it? This impeller sits on this shaft in there. And it's a wear item, so you gotta replace them. And there it is. Surprisingly not bad, actually. There's a new versus old. And it looks right. Man, I'm on a roll with parts today. And click. There's your torque spec. There you go, impeller done. Maybe it's safer to go after this one, because if the oil level's up here and I take that off, it's all gonna come out. Oh, I'm glad I did that. The oil is up to that. All right, so it's full. All right. All right, lower unit's back on. I just gotta get that O-ring for the prop shaft, and then Oh, you know what? I'm pushing it in and it's kind of pushing it back out. I bet that I need to open up one of the drain vents. That's actually a good sign because that means that I have a good seal. I heard, I don't know if you could hear it, but I could hear air come out. Yep, slides right back on. Okay. Didn't see a torque spec in the manual for these, so we're gonna go with snug. While I was thinking about this over the week, I realized that I'm an idiot. I don't actually think I had a lower seal leak at all. I don't know how it didn't dawn on me, like, yeah, duh, that's unburnt engine oil because it's a 2-stroke motor, and that's probably what I was seeing down here in the beginning. So I think my lower unit was fine all along, but new seals never hurt anybody, so. So the only thing left is to fill the lower unit. So I'm going to do that. There it is. So as I pump the fuel ball, that should fill. Yep. And fuel ball firmed up with no leaks. So I'm looking for telltale stream. That's good. That means the impeller is good, and it means my telltale hose is good. Looking for fuel leaks, not seeing any. Probably turn the RPMs down. I think I'm done here. I think this boat's gonna see water tomorrow. Oh dear, strap's a little long. Okay, it is now the following day, and I came over here last night to get the motor going because I really wanted to take the boat on the water today, but just wanted to take care of a couple of things with the trailer first. I got the winch strap. It is a little long, but I think it can make it work. But I do need to address at least this rear roller. I have a replacement, but this is not like a nut and bolts. These are press-on caps, so I got to pry them off. I knew this wasn't going to be easy. The problem is that the bracket itself that I'm trying to leverage against is bending away. I think this shaft is too big anyway, so it doesn't even really matter. Why are you staring at me?
I'm waiting for you to take the wheel off so we can take the hump out. Doesn't have to be tight. Loose bearings are happy bearings. So you take this off and pop the inner bearing out. Okay. Then you gently slide it up over that nut so you can catch the rear bearing. Yeah, see a little bit of water down here. See how it's starting to get a little milky? A little strawberry?
Yep. So if you had to buy a parts washer today, are there any that are better than others, or do they all suck now?
They all suck. So you put that in the middle like that, right? Mm-hmm. Taper down, put the cone on it, and you just kind of like press down and wobble. So you pick it up. See how it's all coming out?
Oh, so it went straight through the needles. Yeah, yeah.
So now you know it's packed.
Yep.
Take this bearing out, plop that right in. So what I do is I clean, run my finger around this edge, make sure there's no burrs. If there's a burr there, it'll
cut the seal. Yep.
And when you're putting this in, don't bang around. You want to go nice and gentle, get it right down the middle, so you don't touch that seal. And that just slides on like that. Put the outer on. Okay. Do it. That's it, right there.
Are you reusing a cotter pin?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, definitely. See, that's nice. See how nice that spins nice? There's no growling.
Yeah. Thank you much.
You're welcome, Bubba. No problem. That'll get you, back and forth with no worries at all about bearing.
Yeah. A little breezy out there. Take it easy. All right, I got a speedometer app. Yeah, aside from just making sure that everything's working right, which, not to jinx it, but so far so good. Aside from that, I want to make sure that this boat is properly propped, like the propeller is the right size. I'm sure that it is. It's not like I installed this, but yeah, I just want to make sure, because this configuration, just me and relatively unladen, is probably what I'll be doing most often. The motor has max RPM 5,000 to 5,700. So if I go wide open and it goes beyond that, that means I'm under propped. And if it stays below that, that means I'm over propped. Or vice versa, whatever the right terminology is. Oh man, this is exciting though. We're finally on the water. So, sitting around 2,800. We're doing 10 miles per hour. Yeah, there's 3,500. That's 17. Anyway, I'll get to the end of the lake. Shouldn't take too long. And then I'll turn around and go wide open. All right, I got a straight line going that way. I'm gonna see what's up. That's full blown I went to 26 pretty quick. About 5,000 RPM. Gonna trim up a little bit. Pretty noticeable. That hit about 51, and I'm doing 30. Wow! Not bad. Woohoo! Holding 30. Wow, not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, so I didn't take apart the carburetors because it's running fine. No hiccups, nothing. Idle's fine too. So, I mean, if it was just a single carb, I'd probably go in there anyway, but with it being 3 carburetors with links, if I don't have to go in there, I don't really want to, and it doesn't seem like I do. So, I would say maybe the prop's a little big. Technically, it's perfectly fine. I only say that because full blown, nothing in the boat, just me. It only hit, I guess, like the minimum of the maximum range. So Dad was telling me if I have 4 people in this boat, it won't go on plane, and that's probably why. Whee! I think that went pretty well, all things considered. Even in spite of the windy boat launch with no dock. That's the benefit of a small boat, you know? So I'm just buttoning up, putting stuff away. The reason I chose this lake more than anything else is it's only like 20 minutes from home, so fairly low risk. I'm happy to take this a little bit further from home now. I don't see anything wrong. Anyway, I think the next time I take the boat out, it'll be for a full day. Either Winnipesaukee or maybe Sebago, one of the two. I actually know Sebago Lake pretty well, so that might make sense for a first place to go. Yeah, we'll see. I'll see you then. Weatherman got me good today. It's supposed to be sunny. Alright, so I finally managed to cut across the south end of the lake and come back up, heading toward the northern section now. I'm like just outside of the big archipelago out here, but it's much, much, much calmer than it was 10 minutes ago. So the reason I came out to Winnipesaukee in the first place is because I wanted to get an idea of what kind of fuel consumption I can expect from this setup. And it's been fun to explore. I've been here more times than I can count, but I've never been on this lake on a boat. So there's definitely an exploration factor to it too, but yeah, I'm really trying to figure out what kind of range I can expect, because that's going to help me plan my trips going forward. I've made it all the way out to here. From Center Bay all the way down. I went inland, or I guess west of Rattlesnake Island, all the way down to the back of Alton Bay. And then I came all the way back up here too. But yeah, I've done all that on my primary tank, which is 6 gallons. I actually think it's like 6.6, but for the sake of conversation, 6 gallons. My watch is telling me at this point I've done like 35, 36 miles. And I have a secondary fuel tank to switch to when the time comes. I just picked it up a couple days ago. But I was looking around online to try to get an idea of what I could expect. And I found a rule of thumb that they used to use for these old 2-stroke motors, which is you take the horsepower rating, you divide it by 10, and that's how many gallons per hour. Rough estimate for fuel consumption. So I was thinking I would get an hour and a half. This is at cruise speed, by the way. Hour and a half at cruise speed, which I know from last weekend is about 15, 20 miles an hour. So I was thinking to get 25, 30 miles, but I seem to be at least in the upper range of that. My watch is a little bit optimistic with mileage countings, and I know that, but still, I did not expect to get this far. Alright, the small tank finally kicked. So, this is the tank I've been running. A couple days ago, I just bought this. This is a 12-gallon tank. And the reason why I went with a 12-gallon tank is because this setup is going to make it really easy for me to follow the rule of thirds, which is that you only want to use a third of your fuel going out. So you'll have 2/3 of your fuel coming back. And that just makes it as likely as possible that you'll make it back home, at least from a fuel standpoint. So with this setup, I know that once this goes dry, I've used a third of my fuel and I gotta turn around and come home. Fortunately, on my route right now, I'm already headed back, so that's not a concern. So yeah, that's it. Didn't happen in a great spot. I'm in the middle of a crossing right now, but as promised, the boat handles the surf surprisingly well for a 16-foot. So it's been kind of rough at points, but I've never been like worried, I guess. Hope your day turns around.
crazy. I might need a new game plan. These are too big. Woo! That's how I have to go to get home. Gotta figure this one out. Those waves are getting a little too big. Just looked at the map. I think if I hug this shoreline, I'll be okay. Yeah, never mind. That almost went over the bow. Not happening. This island in front of me is 5 Mile Island. I think if I go around the back, I might be able to shoot across. We'll see. I think what I'm gonna end up having to do is drop down this chain of islands to get on the other side of Bear Island. That should protect me from this strait. It's just this main channel here that I can't or don't want to get across. I probably could do it, but I think it pays to be a bit of a sissy sometimes. Anyway, that's the plan. I have plenty of fuel at least. So that's 6 Mile, which is the next island down. And the next island is Birch. If I can get around behind Birch, I'm free and clear. Basically just following the waves. Almost there. Wow, these are big. Ride the back a bit. Almost there. Oh. That got the adrenaline up a bit, but everything in front of me is pretty calm. It's just that out there, it's awful. Those had to be, I don't know, 3-4 foot waves if I had to guess. Sheesh. Well, good news, I've made it to Center Harbor. Once I got around the islands, it really wasn't too bad. Today was an interesting day, definitely different than I thought it would be. I kind of pictured today being a leisurely day, like pulling up to beaches, taking cat naps, spending a lot more time fishing, but that just meant it was more educational for me. I've definitely gained a lot of trust in this boat. Felt really comfortable in conditions I did not expect to feel comfortable in. Absolutely no issues out of the motor too, so that's a success story as well. And then fuel consumption. So I'm reading 56 miles. And I'm looking at my big tank and it's still more than half full. So, like, very first trip, the rule of thirds worked out in my favor because I had plenty of fuel to go back and around and just take a much longer route, much safer route, without having to worry about fuel. So it worked great. I think today was a success. Some risk, some reward, but a good day.
With the first week of June came an important milestone. Today would be the first day this boat would see salt water. I chose to launch on the Piscataqua River because it is well sheltered from the open ocean and would give me ample opportunity to bail out if conditions got too rough. It was highly entertaining to see the town of Portsmouth from the water and to push through the strong tidal currents rushing out to the Atlantic. Offshore conditions called for 3-foot seas and 20-mile-per-hour winds, so I did not make it very far out of Portsmouth Harbor. But overall, the day was a huge success and showed me that my dream of boating in the ocean was well worth the effort. I think the camera missed it, but finally, it's just a little mackerel, but it's my first saltwater fish. Awesome. Oh, hold still, brother. There you have it. Tiny little mackerel. There he goes. Yes. Mackerel are a dime a dozen out here, so it's not really anything special, but like I said, it's my first saltwater catch. That feels good. Nice. This is a little mackerel. This one's even smaller, actually. Chill out, dude. I'm gonna be here forever. Atlantic mackerel, I think. Very pretty. Green on top. Yeah. That's good. I'm just casting small bait in shallow spots, so I'm not expecting much better than that, but it's nice that I'm getting something.